please. Gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, I come to you this morning with a sad heart, Lord, at the passing of my pastor and friend, Charles Bartlett, Lord, where he served our county as a member of the pastor staff that watches over our law enforcement, Lord. Lord, we just ask your blessings over their family in this time of loss, Lord. Lord, we just ask you to guide our court this morning, guide our thoughts and actions, Lord, that we would serve you and serve the interest of our community, Lord, that we would carry out our duties faithfully. Lord, I pray that you'd watch over our law enforcement this morning, Lord. Lord, you would be with them, you would keep them safe and help them to return home safely, Lord. And we just pray all these things in Jesus' precious name.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
This time I call for any public comment. Okay, hearing none. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Ask court take action on that.
Item 3, I have additional clarification on that item, itemized statement that I received this morning. So you take that, enter that into the record. That was the one we pulled last week.
Right. What was the?
They had, you want a copy of it? It was mostly the hours that they spent out there chasing the multiple leaks that were on that pipe, so, and they did chase the backflow preventer. So, it's high, but they justified their expenditures. So.
Well, it's not any higher than item 11.
Not near.
You know, that's fine,
Oh, go ahead, Judge.
You do realize, Woodrow, if we hadn't listened to you and kept that old rock box,
Yeah.
we would have been dead in the water.
We'd be driving on dirt roads.
Yep.
It's all right, you got lock trucks stacked up there and dumping them. You got 5,000 gallons of oil at $2 and something a gallon. Long way back home.
I'll make a motion we can approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any other comments on any of the items on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 1 is to review the rate and approve the rate of bills for payment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments, anyone in the audience, any discussion on these items? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 2 is discuss, consider, take action to eliminate position 4 in Department 425 and reallocate unused salary and benefits overtime to Department 440, 441, 442, 444, 445, and 425, which are the district courts and the county courts of law, and to permit the reassignment of duties. Judge McKnight.
Well, I believe that it was discussed in the work session on Friday, and the premise is to eliminate position number 4 out of the court administrator's office, assign some duties to the district court coordinators, and redistribute those salaries amongst the district's courts and the county courts of law coordinators. The proposal that has been put forth by the district courts is to adjust the salaries of the coordinators to 48.7 for the district courts and 47.7 for the county courts at law. And I know we discussed some of the math on that on Friday, but that would keep the county courts of law in lockstep with the district courts, which has always been a focus, I know, and would also provide for the reassignment, or excuse me, the allocation of some of those monies, $3,000 specifically, to the court administrator's office. And then we'll work with them about bringing some of those duties into the courts themselves. And I do want to make sure that, to the extent it wasn't clear, because that fourth position is currently vacant, the idea would be to do this effective the next payroll. And we would start those reassignments as soon as this is approved.
And in essence, have 6 people working out of the court administrator are assisting with the duties that currently are having to be managed just by 3 because we're vacant 1, right?
Well, the 3 district judges, I guess it was last year or the year before, managed and supervised the court administrator's office. So that would be the same, we would just be reassigning some.
Right.
Judge, now, will we be able to alleviate any of the overtime in that office?
Well, my proposal and my math, as we discussed some on Friday, would actually completely eliminate that. And that would not even, at least for that position, and that did not factor into my calculations as far as what the salary change would be. I do believe that with the reassignment of the duties in 2019, that office incurred $10,000 in overtime. And I do believe that with the reassignment of duties, that you will see a reduction in that as well. I can't give you a number.
Yeah.
Just because I don't.
Well, I know Anya works through lunch, and she usually, stays here till 6:30.
Right.
Just would like to see enough duties taken away that she could go eat lunch and go home at a regular time.
And that is our focus, and when that position came open, that was some of the things that we discussed, is taking this opportunity and giving her some breathing room.
Oh.
Because working every day until through lunch and early until 6 or 6:30 Fridays, and every day is not a sustainable model. So that's our focus, and as the district judges and I have already discussed, when we look at reassignment of those duties, it's not going to be taking a small crumb. It's going to be taking enough duties that truly make a difference in their day-to-day workload. And we'll work with her office for that reassignment.
Well, I would make that motion, but we have a little bit of math to do.
Let's take some more discussion.
Yeah, but we did look at it Friday, and it was a budget negative about $800, or positive, whichever way. It was more. It was $800 more, and we talked about
Well,
going 48.7. We was talking about going 48.5.
But the bottom line is, Lee, you're spending it either way
Yeah.
you go. If they fill the 4th position, continue to run an unsustainable model, we're still spending the same money. This is
Sure.
their ideal to alleviate and help be proactive in making a more streamlined process that spreads the workload out across more people. And it just, I think, gives us, and it's what we have allowed already.
Judge, do you think the decrease in overtime would take care of the $800?
If it actually happened, yeah.
I tell you, I can probably make this a little bit easier if, I know there was some discussion about the math. When I did the math, based on my calculations, it was budget positive to the county about $6,000. I realized there's a discrepancy in that. If the position of the commissioner's court is that it's budget negative,
whichever.
to the tune of $800 and some odd dollars, and if 48.5 and 47.5 would alleviate that, I'll amend my request to make it 48.5 and 47.5.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Hang on just a second, I'm just Flores want to speak.
Just to have it on record, I tried this twice, and of course failed. And the 3rd time it actually went through, and at that time, it was said that this was never gonna happen again. But it has continued to happen. So I just want it on record that any office can eliminate a position, take that money, and allocate it to their employees. I did a lot of math too, and it did from 2010 to 2020. And in then 10 years, the chief deputies, and that would be my office, Lori's office, and I believe your office.
Sheriffs, there's a number.
Sheriff, yeah, a number. They will, in that 10 years, have received $7,245 raise in that 10 years. If this proceeds through, the judges, coordinator, secretaries, I'm not sure what they call them, would change to a raise in that same 10 years to $13,497, which that position has always made less than all the chief deputies.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Well, I just want to address Patty's statement that, Patty, that doesn't mean that next year we're going to do the same thing again. I wouldn't get that concept or ideal, and I don't remember ever hearing or discussing that what we did in your office when we did it would never happen again. I don't remember that. But I would say each year's a new year.
Well, I think as long as I've sat on the court, we've always been favorable to offices that have come in with a good plan, a solid plan that is revenue neutral or revenue positive for Wichita County. Also that streamlines workload and reassigns. I don't think we've ever not granted a similar request.
Yeah, we have not granted Patty a couple times. I think what she's referring
She's
to,
referring to raises, not the
reassign-
allocation.
not-
She didn't come back in ever with a second allocation, say, I've got another person, I want to take this salary and divvy it up again after we did it.
did we not take one of your positions and allocate that throughout your
We
people?
did.
We did. I thought we did.
But what Patty was denied was raises 6 months later
No.
again.
That's not what I'm, before you two came, I went to the court twice
Oh,
before
oh.
to do that.
Oh, okay.
Showing that the county clerk's office did it, the tax office did it, other people have done it. Why couldn't I do it? I got denied twice, and then when y'all stepped in or got elected, I came before the court again one more time and
Got it.
got it.
Okay.
Well, I'll go back to what I said. Since I've been on the court, the court's always been favorable to those offices that have brought us a workable plan. I don't think in my memory, we've denied anyone a workable plan that is at least revenue neutral.
And there are a couple of ways to skin that cat, and I think Commissioner Mahler discussed with several of us the possibilities, but I think that we're too far down the road, or at least into allowing some other budget slots to utilize their full dollars and to hold ourselves true to what we've started out in this process in, knowing that we're going to spend the money one way or the other. We're just, if we do spend it the old way, we're not going to be as productive as what we have been in the past.
Commissioner Muller, you have some thoughts on this?
Well, I think the first thought is that I think it is something we've done in the past. I think it does have merit. We know that office is under a strain to get their work done. It has been for some time. Of course, I was under the impression that our new software was going to eliminate some of those problems. In fact, part of the, I guess, the sales pitch on that was that we were going to be able to redo that, and we held on hoping in good faith that would happen. So I'm a little disappointed that we're to that point now, and the bills are being paid on the software, and we're not getting the reductions that we wanted to see. That's troubling to me. I guess the other thought is that is it absolutely necessary that we divide the whole salary out? I mean, that's what we've done. I think that's obviously a good way to do it, but isn't there a possibility that you could divide 75% of it or 50% of it or whatever? Wouldn't that be as good a figure as any? Until we find out exactly how much of the load we're going to take off the court administrator's office. I'm sure when you've got actually, I guess that would be 5 additional people working on that project rather than the one that we're replacing. It should make a big difference, but, you know, sometimes I think we need to take consideration of maybe putting a percentage of those eliminated positions back to the taxpayers, back in the general fund. And maybe a percentage of it should go that way. I know sometimes in the past we've not done that, but it has been something we've talked about. I mean, is that something that could be done? Once again, why would we not want to share those efficiencies with the people that are paying the bills? Wouldn't that be a consideration, whether it be 25% of it or 50% of it or whatever? I understand the dividing up, and I'm glad that that administrator's office is going to have some help, because I think they do need it, and they deserve it to be more efficient. That was my only question.
Are the court coordinators, District R County considered exempt or not exempt employees? Or you all have them scheduled up?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Mine's never earned any overtime.
Nor is mine.
Nor is mine.
Well,
No, but the question is, are they exempt or not exempt? I know they haven't, and generally they work a modified. I remember, Judge, we had a district court coordinator get terminated and filed for unemployment, for overtime in her last, that she hadn't been paid, and Meredith answered that because she wasn't working 40 hours a week and took care of that problem for us. But I was just
She didn't
curious whether that's...
she didn't claim overtime. She claimed excessive vacation time. And we had it time audited because I knew she had taken a substantial vacation prior to her departure, and I didn't think that that was justified.
Well, she claimed also that she worked 39 or 39 and a half hours and her normal work week was 36, and she didn't report any 40-hour weeks. And that was another point interested in.
No, I don't see, I certainly don't have the budget for overtime, but we've never tried to claim any overtime for that position. What they're classified as, I wouldn't.
The other thing I wondered, we talked about we want to have a plan. Do we bet on the come, or do we wait and see the plan, make some adjustments, see what y'all can do? I don't know. I know the obvious goal is to eliminate overtime. And so that was pretty easy to measure.
Well, I also think you have to look at the fact that you're eliminating overtime, potentially, at least on one position, potentially within the whole department. You're eliminating health insurance costs, you're eliminating all the other benefit costs that the county incurs. That we know the number today, who knows what it is next year?
And I agree, we are doing those things in there, but the only part that has bothered me in this, and I've said this to you all before, I'm glad the County Board of Law judges, we're not addressing, and I kind of hoped in this, that was my own thinking, not anything you all said, was to look at the court report, because I feel like in a year, we're going to face possibly as much as a 10% increase and try to bring those salaries up to retain people, and then to possibly in 2 years have to hire another court reporter after retirement if that happens. That's going to be some significant money if the full 10% that you all have the authority to do was put into place. I just thought we could step into that with part of this money and take that. That would be my dread. And I had also included my court coordinator in part of that. And we certainly keep that budget neutral. If the other money was all used up, we'd have to use my travel fund. We did that, you see my travel fund most of the time by the committee. That would be a thought.
I think it's a good concept. I don't have a problem with the concept. I just had some questions about the numbers themselves, the math, the way it works out. I think it's a good business move forward. I really do.
I think we discussed yesterday We have to find it, 30th district.
Just for the record, we discussed it Friday.
Oh, I tried, I was prayed about it yesterday,
No
I
math
guess.
on this has it.
Well, maybe I'm just crazy. Oh, it's right here. Okay, it is, in the judge's proposal, he had proposed 48.7. And then he had proposed for,
47.7.
just I'm gonna read
For
it.
the CCD.
47.7. So it's exactly as what you had requested, but he had also included the court reporters at 78, 78.
That was not part of our proposal.
No.
So it's not the same.
That's the judge's. So the judge's proposal is to accommodate you at your rate that you asked for.
No,
No?
no.
That's what it says here in this book.
That's-
Are you looking at the worksheet, Lee?
no.
I'm looking at general fund proposed salaries for
He's looking
2020.
at an interpretation that Willie made in putting in both Judge Knight's request.
No.
That's a hybrid.
It's a hybrid.
You read the one with my name on it, it's not there.
Well, when do we get that one?
You had it last week.
So that's the other one?
There's two worksheets, one that came from Judge Knight, and Judge Gossen. What I'm looking at.
Let me go to,
And they're very similar, there's just a little bit of,
Well, there's not as much increase as we include all five court reports.
that's true.
this doesn't have anything for them, yours.
No, it's a memo. It's not that sheet.
Judge Gossen, were you proposing that move outside of this agreement? Is that what I heard
Well,
you say this morning?
included in the same action. There's 3,000 in my travel budget.
I was gonna say, but not funded the same way, maybe. Is that what I'm understanding?
It would be funded out of 401, not out of the change in court administration.
So are you gonna forfeit your travel budget moving forward?
2,000 of it, yes, because my travel for judicial is covered
That's what I was gonna,
by the committee.
All of our travel budgets have been amended this year.
yes, you have. Which document am I supposed to be looking at? I got two here and they're both wrong, so.
Well, but you know the proposal on the
Yeah,
table,
I mean, these are-
48.7,
did you have a copy of the
47.7.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You talking about the ones that it's got this morning on our tax rate?
No, there was one from
In the
Judge
packet.
Knight and one from Judge Gossen.
Okay,
And
let me go.
they're very similar, they're just broke out a little different.
In your packet,
I got it.
right here.
I'm going. You be too. Oh, I have this one. I have this one, I just didn't have yours.
My proposal is court reporters go from 75,000 to 79. The bailiff coordinators go from 40,000, this is in the district court, 40,108 to 44,108. The county court law court reporters go from 74 to 78, bailiff coordinators from 39, 108 to 43, 108, and my court coordinator from 35, 573 to 31, 108, but that's using some of their money. And what I was suggesting, and that is take 2,000 out of my travel budget and adjust that. We're gonna adjust court coordinators across the board, and I requested.
Which once again would leave it budget neutral. Right, doing it that way.
Yes, sir.
The only thing I would like to add to that, I guess, is you have, you have two employees. If you just take Danielle and Taylor's positions, you have two employees who are handling the criminal coordinating for the 3 district courts. Their average salary is over $49,000. And y'all makes $15,000 more than our court coordinators. Our court coordinator salaries are not in line with what you would want to hire a new court coordinator to come in. And when you look at the numbers of cases, at least 2 of the courts the civil cases are 2/3 more than the criminal docket. So taking on duties from the court administrator's office is not going to be, a super easy task for our coordinators. But I'll assure you from my court on that, to clean up our docket, there's not any overtime in that, because Christy and I are both working on that.
Are our county court at laws going to participate in that?
They do all of their own scheduling already.
I know, but are they going to participate in the workload of this
Well,
position?
it's a different animal though,
It is
Lee.
different animal.
But they do both civil and criminal in the county court of law.
Yes.
The county court at law, I mean,
And
they,
have probate.
they
They got law.
they don't have an outside office helping them. They do everything internally, right?
Correct.
That's right.
That's right.
And that's the way we've always done it, but our jurisdictions are different. That's where you're getting the difference. We handle misdemeanors, they handle felonies, not the
Yeah.
criminal side.
Yeah.
And if you look at your misdemeanor numbers,
They're way up.
not yet, but they're about to be.
Yeah.
Because of COVID, they've been held back on it.
And I will say that our proposal was intentional to include the CCLs because of this court's position of trying to maintain CCLs in lockstep with the district courts. We
The
want to make
$1,000
sure that
difference.
Our proposal included that from this budget money, instead of saying, this is what we want for the district courts, and then you having to face the idea of trying to find money to keep them in lockstep somewhere else. We factored that in.
Yeah, and the bottom line to me is that you don't do this proposal. They brought it to the table. They wanted to initiate it. They did it for higher productivity and better sustainable management. But we don't do anything. We're still spending the same money, more money is the bottom line. And we're just still doing it the old-timey way, and we can't. So why wouldn't we do it? Why wouldn't we proceed and put their plan into place and let them be proactive with it? It's their program. And it's a fast-moving target. We've always known that office works extremely hard. They can use all the help they can get. I don't think that those salaries are out of line for anyone in today's world.
No, they're not out of line.
So I see no need to compromise or to do. I agree with Commissioner Muller. Had we started at the get-go, I'd be all for treating everyone the same, but since several have come through already, we've treated differently. I can't see backing up and having this department adhere to some new procedure differently. I think that is a good concept going forward. We probably should adapt to or utilize.
At least take a look at it,
Yeah,
you know.
but I think in fairness, that these guys have looked at a situation they didn't need to. They could have just filled the 4th position, kept on rolling. That's the way we've done it for 20 years. But they wanted to be proactive. So I say more power to them.
There will be some return to the county on this change from overtime
Well, overtime,
expenditures and
yeah.
healthcare costs automatically.
Well, they saying it often and addressing it. If that be people working towards the same goal, that could be a consideration. To do that.
We have a motion and a second already?
No,
Yes,
no,
yes.
I did not record it.
Oh, I thought I heard it, but
It
I,
was made.
Okay, you started once, he started once, we didn't get a second.
Okay.
We need a motion. I need to have clarity of what the motion is, because there's 2 or 3 ideas out there. So
There,
how inclusive is that motion?
my motion was to go to the actual cost, and I don't recall what that figure was. Judge McKnight, you stated the
48.7 and
Well,
47.7.
because of the discrepancy in what was budget neutral versus not, my amendment to the budget, to the requested item was to make district court coordinators 48.5, county court at law coordinators 47.5, and that would account for a $3,000 allocation back into the court administrator's office under the district court's management. So that's our proposal, that's our request, that you set all 3 district court coordinators at 48.5. You set the 2 CCL coordinators at 47.5. You allow a $3,000 allocation in the court administrator's office, and you eliminate the 4th position of the court administrator's office.
and that would bring us back to budget neutral from our numbers.
Right.
Okay.
And the motion needs to include that it would start next pay period?
I amend my motion.
You can include, not court reporter in there or not.
Your court reporter?
Court coordinator in that. That's for 2,000, where it comes in.
When you say you're going back to the coordinator's office with $3,000, what do you mean by that?
To Aniel's office, to divvy
I know what office it is. Where are you putting the money?
1,000 each.
Okay, for those people in that, okay.
We would not just say all of it goes to one person, we would
Yeah.
all go equally.
I hesitate to do that, as we've told other offices, if they make changes in their salary lines, it needs to come out of salary lines and not out of,
All I can do is ask. And I understand what
no,
you're saying.
no.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Watts to approve the redistribution of the 4th position in salary and benefits into the 3 court reporters of the district courts and 2 court coordinators of the county courts of law, to do that at an amount that will become budget neutral, which will reduce the salaries to 48.5 and 47.5, and then $3,000 of the money also to be, of the overtime money to be used to adjust salaries for the 3 people remaining in the court administration office.
We didn't use overtime in any of
It's
that
not overtime.
calculation.
Okay,
Yeah, it's part of the salary, isn't it?
It's part of that,
Yeah.
it's part of that salary and benefits distribution, yes.
okay. All right. Then let's say within that 51,000 that Willie figured is 51,000 some change. So, okay, I'd like you to leave that open as we adjust that, and make sure we're adjusting that correctly within that. So the intent will be to maximize the use of that, because you got $3,000 in plus benefit costs on that 3,000. So if we're truly gonna keep it underneath that, then there might be some, it might be 48, 459 or something, so.
In all due respect, that's exactly what was discussed on Friday in the work session. The numbers that you provided show that it was $815 budget negative. I made the proposal to adjust each position $200 times 5, which is $1,000. So based on the numbers that were provided in work session on Friday, now it is budget positive, even based on the numbers that we were providing. I made that adjustment this morning to account for that. Even though I came to a different number, that's fine.
Let's say, you think the 3,000 plus benefits is within that number?
I'm going based on what was provided in the work session about what was budget neutral versus what wasn't. From your office.
Yes, sir. What I developed those figures on was based on salaries only. I didn't pull in that 3,000.
Well, I can only make that adjustment based on the information that your office provided on Friday in the work session. I'm trying to make that accommodation. I believe it was already budget positive. You believe that it wasn't. You believe that it was 800 and some change budget negative. I've made that adjustment which more than takes care of what you believe to be a budget negative
Then
number.
what I'd still like to do, so we don't stand
Well,
here.
hold on, in 2,500, that position in the court administrator's office expended 2,500 in overtime. So that $2,500 was not put in those numbers, was not calculated, so that's 2,500 of that 3,000. And then you have another $9,500 in health insurance costs that the county's not having to pay.
Well, they are if you're spreading it around 5 ways, still paying it.
No,
No.
no, that cost of $790 per employee goes away.
It's gone.
Oh, I thought you said you took their benefit costs and split them up.
We're eliminating an entire position, so that health insurance
That health
cost is no
insurance cost
longer
is gone.
expended.
Okay. Yeah.
But, okay, we're not sitting here doing the figures. It's gonna come close. I want, the court decides on the motion. We listened to your request. I think you need to leave the latitude and we'll do it. It's not gonna be significant at the time it's gonna take you to do that unless you wanna wait till this afternoon when it's recalculated, we can deal with it then. But I think that latitude will take care of more. You know, that's, any way to go, it's a very positive increase in the salaries and the expectations. And I think to sit here and debate much over a few dollars either way is not. But this way it does stick to, we try to keep it budget neutral.
Are we changing the motion?
I just ask you to have it, if we do those salaries, divide that up, include the 3,000, and it would remain budget neutral to salary expense less,
Benefits.
health insurance.
But Judge, I do think the motion is on the hard numbers.
Yes.
I mean, those were the motions that were made, the 48 and 47.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, and then starting with the next pay period.
That's correct.
Right.
That is correct.
I mean, that's
I don't
the
know why we're
motion that
muddying the
was
water.
set. So,
Okay.
it'll either be up or down.
And you included the, well, I said.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not worth the time.
Yeah.
Any other comment or discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Judge McKnight, you'd make a good attorney.
Maybe I'll go get my lawyer one day.
That was item 2. We kind of moved item 3 into that.
Can't we take care of that right here?
Just a second. Okay, we actually, what we did, we took action on item 3, that was to adjust the clerk coordinators. Now we need to eliminate section 04 in Department 425. Need a motion?
Okay.
So moved.
What? All right.
Well, we did
What
it,
do
we
we do?
just didn't, we didn't fund it, what you're saying.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I got
We're
it.
just eliminating the position and reallocating to those numbers.
Okay. Any comment or question you want in the audience? Yes, ma'am.
The only question on that, I guess, since you're taking, you have a budget for travel, so you're taking it out of your travel budget?
Mine's not, it's not in there.
Okay, I thought I heard
Oh, we're still on two, Patty.
It was an idea at the time, but we didn't go that way.
Patty's thinking of three.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were on the.
Well, we did, but the discussion really moved to the heart of number 3 instead of number 2. So we had to go back, clean up number 2 and eliminate the position. That's all this is. Okay.
So I did make the motion.
Mr. Harvey is seconded by Commissioner Beecham. Any other comment on the audience?
Did I second? I did,
I thought you did.
I thought you.
no, I did not second.
Oh, okay.
I'm still trying to understand the item.
He's just deleting the position.
Okay, all right,
Position 4, Mark, in Aniel's office.
okay, all right, we're deleting that position, which is,
So
okay.
that we can-
I had no problem seconding that, but I did not second it before.
I thought you did.
It's all right. Put it on there. Can I go ahead and leave your name?
That's fine, I will accept that.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Item 4, discuss, consider take action to purchase 6 thermal temp kiosks and facial recognition scanners at cost of $1,650 each for a total cost of $9,000 to be installed at the courthouse annex, and the new law enforcement center. 3 scanners to be paid from permanent improvement fund and 3 from the DCIF, which is the sheriff's fund.
Correct.
Thanks, Sheriff.
We reviewed these with county staff, and we find this to be a much more efficient way to manage our COVID response. What we will do with these is, first of all, they're scanners that scan your wrist temperature. We'll be able to put them at the entrance doors. When we come into the courthouse, they'll be right by the scan station anyway. No touch, wave your wrist underneath. It will take a picture of the person's face that's being scanned in, so that'll be databased, so we'll know everybody that walks into the building. We'll have a database of that. It's a no-go situation. If your temperature's hot, it will sound an alarm and you won't be able to proceed. At the annex, it'll work a little bit different, where you'll come into the airlock when we put the new doors on. You'll be able to come in off the street, out of the weather. You will scan. If it scans you to be hot, it will not unlock the door for you. It will then notify security that somebody's at the door. They can come and check them a second time manually. Or
They won't be locked in the airlock, will they?
no, they can turn around and go back out.
Okay.
No. And it'll work similar
So,
at the law
something didn't sound right
enforcement
about that.
center.
Kind
We
of
can-
defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
We can also put it into facial recognition mode at the law enforcement center to actually track our staff that are coming in. So at the back entrance, it'll be facial recognition. They will scan. It will identify the member of law enforcement that's coming in the building and log them in, so we know when our staff is coming and going.
Does
Mark-
it record the picture with the picture?
I believe it does, Judge. I know our IT folks have had a lot of discussion with security companies, so.
Okay, something's up here, because you're gonna get a kiosk that checks your temperature, and then we're gonna have a facial recognition scanner for $1,650. That's awful cheap.
It is, and they're.
And it just makes me wonder if when the shoe's gonna fall, that we gotta buy the scanner separate or
No,
something like that.
We've had IT talk to them thoroughly and find out about software and everything else. I'll tell you that this one the company we're working with has sold most of the major universities in the state of Texas the same system, particularly in their sports programs.
For $1,650.
They're installed all across the University of Texas campus. They're at Baylor, I don't remember all.
We don't need them at A&M.
The, no software renewal fees or?
No, it's
where they
Windows-based. It's a Windows-based, no software renewal fees. This is supposed to be a turnkey purchase, and
Where do you keep the database?
That will be on our own servers.
That'll go on
Yeah,
ours.
yeah, you just download the Windows-based program onto our server and,
So does it know, Mark, that I've already temped? Is that what it facial recognition's for, is that I've already checked my temperature?
9 of them?
no, the one thing that they don't do is they're not interconnected together as such, so you could go to one door and fail and come around to another door if we had multiple doors on the system and pass or fail. And it's just gonna take it from that kiosk and it will download that information.
But the facial recognition part, we're using it,
In the case of the law enforcement center, we can put it in facial recognition mode to only allow the folks that we have granted access to that facial
Oh.
recognition.
okay,
So much like a fingerprint reader,
right.
we'll hold a database that holds about, I think it's 4,000 individual profiles that we can hold in that database and only allow those 4,000 individuals.
What are you gonna do, what are you gonna do for No Shave November? They can still recognize them?
Well, I tell you, the question was asked about mask. It'll actually, we can put it in mask mode, and it'll only allow people to enter the building with a mask, and it'll still do the facial recognition with the mask because it looks at,
It's supposed to, Lee, it's supposed to, each time it takes a picture, it stores it, so as you grow your beard out, it will change with your.
Oh, yeah.
so.
That's just awful sneaking cheap for 6 of those kiosks. I just feel like there's gonna be another charge to something.
Well,
It's
I'll
just
tell you
too,
this.
it's just too good to be true.
Well, I'll tell you this
Usually
much, in talking to Webfire on Thursday, when they'd heard about this going on, they offered us a similar purchase for a very similar price, so I think I
We're doing
don't
okay.
think there's a downside to this. I think it will save a lot of overtime.
Will that alleviate the physicians that are sitting there now taking the temperature?
It will streamline, you won't have to do a touch of somebody standing there just to take
You don't
temperatures.
necessarily have to have a person standing there like they do now.
Well, that won't alleviate any of the people.
Well,
They'll just take the
You'll
temperature.
reassign them to other things. They won't have to stand there with a thermometer and take temperatures on.
No, but they do, there are 2 people at each entrance. And we're not gonna get rid of one and leave one there by themselves.
Right now, at the annex, we've never had that.
Well, they're in the fishbowl too.
Yeah. And they can go back to,
No, they greet you when you come in. They're out there, they're running an active, review. They're not in the football.
One of the challenges I think we've had in it is that they can't step away and do anything else. They get called upstairs to help out in the whatever office. This will help eliminate.
this will help. It's not a
It's not gonna,
complete replacement for security staff by any means, but it will eliminate the need for somebody to stand there.
Yeah, like
at all
right
times
now,
with the
we've only got
thermometer.
one person watching the cameras, really. Like if Sonia's or Chris behind the scanner, the other person's so far forward that they really can't help look at the monitors,
What's DCIF?
That's-
Inmate fund, okay. I'd never seen it written like that, so, okay.
You got the code?
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. I know what you're talking about then.
This
All
is
right.
being done to assist the sheriff in what they do, but that is totally the sheriff's decision how he handles those sites. So just keep that in mind.
And Sheriff, is there thought on to when we may have visitation ramp back up?
We haven't heard anything from the state. And, quite frankly, it's fine right now because it's not a more strain on the staff coming, open up the later hours in the evening. So, if it goes to next March, there you go. Minimum 6 months. Yeah.
That'd make life easier moving into the new facility, and I'll have to cover that fall too. But with our luck, that'll be exactly the same way.
Same day as we're moving, yeah, that's part of it.
Maybe we need to send a note to Brandon suggesting that not be what they decide to do.
But I think as long as the cases keep motion I could do it. I don't think of any investigation can even be tried right now on the counties. So it's good for us.
I'd make a motion to approve as stated.
Is there a second?
Second. Well, I'm like Commissioner Harvey, that just seems,
Trust me,
I love it. If that's the real deal, I love it.
I was looking for another
Your
decimal there.
complaints because they're charging the county too much, then we get a good deal on something.
Do they work on rock boxes?
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of boxes.
I tell you, I was excited about it and grabbed Judge Goslin the minute I found out about these, and we discussed it,
Well,
so.
and then I went home that night, read the National Guard magazine, and they were advertising it in there.
Yeah, so,
Well, what is that a new way doing the wrist versus the forehead?
yeah, from what I understand, your wrist is, because of the vein that runs through it, is much more accurate than forehead. Because you get sweaty and everything in your forehead, and your wrist don't usually get hot and sweaty if you got a hat on or whatever, so.
I see.
I was worried last week after walking from the parking lot a couple of days there that you don't piss off when you got inside the door. It's tough out there.
Any other comments? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Beecham, a second by Commissioner Waller to approve the item as stated. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried 5-0. Discuss, item 5 is discuss, consider take action to approve the purchase of a 2012 Mack water truck with new water tank from Bruckner's at a cost of $89,950 with $45,000 transferred from precinct 1 operations budget and the remainder to be paid by transfer from general fund contingency to be reimbursed by precinct 1 in 2021 capital expenditure budget. Commissioner Beecham.
Yeah, this was kind of within my plans all along to retank the existing water truck that we have. It would cost about $40,000 to do a retank of my current water truck, which is 20 years older than this unit that we purchased all in. all
Even
done.
more than that, really.
Yeah, this is a good solid vehicle, because it's a hybrid, it's a used vehicle, it's kind of a sole source purchase. We need to look at it as being a sole source, one of a kind, unique item, and I would make that motion to move.
Don't you want to add to that motion that you were going to give your old truck to precinct 2?
Well, that depends on what, let's talk
Sure.
about the bids here.
If it's
To
not
give it?
worth him doing it.
Well, yeah. I'm a welder.
It
I can put lap patches on that thing all
might
day
be
long.
worth it if somebody had a tank sitting there, but
Sheriff Booth?
I was gonna suggest donate that or transfer it to one of the county fire departments.
No.
Somebody that doesn't have a tanker, it's, has one available to help sustain a first response at one of the departments.
Well, when we do assist those, whenever we have hauled water with our big transport to the fires and stuff. But I need that water truck.
what did they,
And I'd still haul water to the fires.
what did they value it at, Mark? Did they offer you a trade-in value?
Wouldn't give him
I
3,500.
figured we'd want to keep it in our inventory.
$35,000.
What's that?
I thought you said they wouldn't give you 3,500
No,
for
see,
it.
I haven't asked for a trade-in. I know what it would cost, because it cost only $40,000 to retank it. That's what I was planning on doing.
I can put lap patches on it. We don't have a water truck like that. We got that big transport.
Saving the 89,000. No.
We could.
I think it's a good value on this piece of
I wish
equipment.
we were.
Are you just gonna keep it?
I wish we were putting in precinct.
I got this figured out, Barry. Are you just gonna keep
I'm
it?
not getting rid of it right now.
Okay, so we just borrow it.
Yes.
We just go
Well,
borrow
we
it.
really don't have any of those small, I don't have one, and,
You don't have one at all. I have a transport.
yeah, and Barry has
Let's
a
get this
transport.
out.
Yeah, well, we can cross that bridge later. Let's just buy this truck.
I need a second to that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
We'll get a little bidding war going.
No, he said he's just gonna keep it. We can just go
Any
borrow
other
it.
comments from the audience? Sheriff, I thought you would often find one of those surplus equipment or tank that go on there.
You find something.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Moore, to approve the item as stated. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Okay, item 6, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the Texoma trailer body and welding estimate to purchase and install the strobe lights for the 2012 Mack water truck for precinct 1 at a cost of $1,385 to be paid from the Fund 221 budget with specific lines determined by the county auditor.
Yeah, this just puts the strobe lights on the truck the way we want them to keep that truck safe. So each corner and strobe bar on top.
Is that a
Second.
motion, sir?
Yeah, it's a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the audience? Motion by Commissioner Mitchum, second by Commissioner Watts to approve the item as stated. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Item 7, discuss, consider, and take action on Autocraft collision repair. Preliminary estimate in the amount of $2,460.77 for repairs for precinct 4 truck unit number 4440 to be paid from Fund 224 budget with specific lines determined by the county auditor. Commissioner Watts.
Yes, this was due to a deer coming out of the easement on Highway 25 and slamming the truck, which did bend our protector, you know, our guard on the front of the truck. It mashed it into the fender.
Was this at night?
It was early in the morning before sun come up, headed to Electra. And anyway, this is the lowest of the 3 bids we took. And they do a great job, been around a long time.
So this is a pickup that Jack
It's a
was driving?
New pickup,
Oh, yeah.
and it's wrinkled over the fender headlight, right there.
Is that a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Okay, do you hear the comments?
We actually, in that proposal, just so y'all will know, it was cheaper to replace the bumper on the front of that truck with the ranch hand bumper in this estimate than it was to re-put on the metal silver bumper back. It's crazy.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Item 8 is discuss and take action to approve the purchase of new furniture for the county auditor's office at a cost up to $6,000 to be paid by transfer from general fund contingency. Commissioner Mitchell.
Yeah, Judge, just have a maximum cost on here. They're still working out details of what furniture would work out best. I know several emails went back and forth between Ms. Jones and Ms. Murray over the weekend. I don't know where they're at as far as what they've decided on, but the 6,000 should cover it.
And just for everybody's information, I don't realize that, we all do, and so we assume everybody knows the furniture in that auditor's office belonged to the
Yeah,
auditor.
there was a folding table and
Yeah.
a table that needs to be in the dumpster.
We're
that was
not,
left.
yeah, we're not throwing out the old, it's, she
No,
took it
there's
with her, so.
absolutely nothing that was usable.
A lot of times we know that, but everybody else, well, you buying new, well, that's the reason, because there is none. But anyway.
And the carpet in there's all tore up. It's rolled up in the middle.
Well, what's next?
Well, it's been in there since the Attorney General beat that office. Sheriff, that's right, you're thinking that too?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Long time. Now, I don't think turning it over is gonna work. I think we're just gonna have to replace it.
Yeah.
Can't flip it.
Yeah.
You can't flip it, use it?
So that would be my motion, to approve it up to 6,000 and.
Not to
we'll continue
exceed.
work, yeah, not to exceed 6,000, and we'll continue to work.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other comments in the audience?
There is enough furniture in the other office, okay, the Linda's
Yes,
office.
yes,
She didn't take anything.
right now she's working out of the second office and will until we get all the carpet and walls painted and
Okay.
everything in, so.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried 5-0. Item 9, discuss, consider, take action to approve the purchase of carpet for the county auditor's office at a cost of up to $5,000 to be paid by transfer from general fund to Commissioner Beecham.
Yeah, I do have the actual estimate now. It's considerably less than that. It's $1,018.55, but if I could, I would like to keep that estimate of $5,000 and replace some carpet in some of the other offices. That whole suite needs to be.
Aren't you putting that tile down, or?
No, she asked that we not.
Oh,
She
You're not gonna use the carpet squares?
No, this is carpet. I want to use carpet squares in the central office where it's got that purple carpet. But I'd like to go ahead and do some of the other offices.
so you're actually putting some commercial grade carpet?
Commercial grade roll carpet in the offices and carpet squares in the main office eventually.
Why wouldn't you have continuity and have the same? Those carpet squares are the way to go. I'm just saying.
Because if you spill coffee or something, the same, you take that out and go.
I mean, that's what, I've learned my lesson. I've already replaced 2 squares
Yeah.
at my place.
I like the carpet squares, but in this office, I gave her several choices and she chose this carpet, so.
You know,
And we could go carpet squares in the other remaining offices.
I think we do carpet squares in all the offices. Sorry, ma'am.
Aren't the carpet squares though a little more expensive?
They're about the same. They're
About the
about,
same amount of money, but they're so much easier to manage and, it's the way to go. I mean,
Okay, well, for the crossroads, you're remembering squares or rolls? Commissioner Beecham, did you make a motion?
I would like to just go ahead and make the motion that we approve 5,000 so I can go ahead and get a couple more of the offices done and.
So amend your motion, from the one office to several.
Well, it says county auditor's office. Well, I ought to say offices.
Offices.
Offices,
And I'll
but
get
yeah,
as far
sorry.
down the road as I can get.
Okay, now is that gonna be squares or roll or combination thereof determined by you?
Determined by me, thank you.
Second.
Second. How hard is it, Mark, to change that lobby out, that,
That's gonna be a chore, because we'll have to pull all the furniture out.
of course, gotta come down?
But if I can do a couple of the offices at a time and start working toward that.
With that center office, if you do the carpet squares, you can move a little bit of furniture, put the squares in, put it back, and then keep
Yeah,
going. I
that's-
mean,
that's what I want
it's
to
not
do.
like gutting the whole place and rolling out carpet.
That's what I wanted to do, carpet squares in the center.
Who's down on the corner across from Corey? Is that office vacant right now too?
No, that's, Mike is in that office.
Oh, okay,
Curtis'
okay.
office, and then Victor is in the office.
So only, when the auditor's there, only one open office right now? It's hard to
Correct.
kind of move a lot of people, okay.
When will we know? Oh, it's not on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Watts to approve up to $5,000 to replace carpet in the county auditor's offices and determine whether squares or rolls are more appropriate by Commissioner Beecham. Any final questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 10 is receive an update on law enforcement center. Commissioner Beecham.
Yeah, we got some really good news Friday. We passed our inspection to turn power on, so we'll be turning power on this week, which is a huge step. Now we can turn the air conditioning on, and it'll be a little bit nicer when we take people through to look at the building.
We give you an opportunity to test it too.
Yeah, so they'll start air conditioning testing soon as we get power on, so.
Do we have a chiller?
We have more than one. No, most is rooftop units scattered throughout. There's, I don't know how many units, there's a bunch. Because there's,
Well, I'm talking about
No,
Chillers.
we don't have a big chiller like we have here, no, everything's.
Everything's,
Everything's.
okay.
So,
Do we have any piece of equipment that can handle taking on and off those rooftop units? I know we used to have.
We have a crane.
we'd have to bring in we've got a crane.
Barry's got a crane.
We got one, belongs to sheriff, but we got it.
Fish and rescue operational, implement.
And we've kept it maintained, we fire it.
I think we're gonna vote for it, recognize it.
Yeah, it's,
Hey, I'm qualified on it.
it's up to shape.
We got that, in case, you know what tornadoes do, whenever they collapse the building, be able to pick up and lift things up the fire department.
I said it wasn't big enough to reach out there.
It's a big old nice one.
There needs to be driven like, and, very screwed to take care of it.
Yeah, we crank it regularly.
And they didn't utilize it for anything, it's just what's there to keep it operational.
Yeah, I don't know as the other buildings it's tall enough for that, but I thought for that building, that might
It
be
might be.
big in mind.
It stretches out there, I don't know exactly.
It's got a gym on it, doesn't it? You should be, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'd hate to road it from Iowa Park.
We shouldn't have to worry about that for a couple of years, so let's knock on wood. But anyway, we were lucky, we did get our glass truck in, that's what we were waiting on. Some of our glass, particularly detention glass, was held up because of COVID. But that truck came in, which allowed us to put the permanent windows in and get our inspection passed. So that was a big step.
Somebody didn't like our plywood
He
windows.
didn't like our plywood windows. So, or our chain locks on the security doors. But all that's been remedied and we should be turning power on today or tomorrow.
What's that got to do with power?
A building has to be secure and dry, and City of Wichita Falls' definition of secure and dry is different than what our contractors are accustomed to working with. So, they had proposed the plywood windows, and that was accepted by the city. The city's idea of plywood windows and our contractor's idea of plywood windows are two different things, so.
Yep.
But it doesn't make any difference now because we got our glass in and we're moving forward.
And the landscaping's coming around along.
Landscaping was supposed to be tomorrow, but I think we've got 100% chance of rain. So we'll probably have to change our plans with the landscapers. We're meeting with them tomorrow morning to go over. Their plan on paper was not approved.
By Brother Mark. He said, I don't like that.
So we asked, rather than spend time and money redrawing plans, that we would just take the plans that they have proposed and meet on site and point and click, and I want this here, I want that there. So-
City of Burke did pretty good with a drought-resistant plants. When they did their brand-new police station, they put some stuff out there, and
And
it looked nice.
that was one thing early on. We had an original set of plans that were given to us for landscaping that was all grass and trees and everything that would require a lot of water. We stopped that. We asked that they be redrawn, and what we got redrawn we didn't like. So we asked that everything be xeriscape, no water, very drought tolerant, desert type plants. Rock along the front of the building, rock in back parking lot. So very little mowing, very little maintenance to any of the plants. So thought that would be the better way to go with that facility.
I sure have some, all-size live oak trees I'll sell worth the money if you get in the mood. So,
Okay. We do have a lot of trees. Well, there'll be trees scattered throughout, but not like it was originally. We have to have a certain number of trees.
Right.
But,
What about all the paving? Is it done in front and?
yeah, paving's complete in front, except for the sidewalks, but you can park in the whole parking lot now. A lot of the paving in the back is done as well. They've got the driveway, the main drive poured completely. Just filling in the back parking lot.
So everything, one of the Sally Port and all that stuff's all done?
Not to the Sally Port. They've got the driveway stopping right at the Sally Port. It's not poured through it yet, so.
Come across the back to the evidence room? So
Yeah, you can get to the evidence room.
it's paved?
It's paved, yeah. Or to the evidence garage.
Yeah, that's what I meant, the garage,
Yeah.
where you.
Yeah, it's paved. Yeah. So,
Now it's amazing how fast it.
It is.
yeah, they are, I'm telling you, they're flying right now. It's all hands on deck, and it's like an anthill right now. You go out there in the morning and you go out there in the afternoon, and you can see the changes that have been made in a day's time. So it's doing the finished work now in the office side, putting ceiling tiles, and light fixtures, flooring starts this week, carpet.
We're gonna move in on time.
We are going to move in on the 21st. Unless we get a crazy amount of rain and stop sidewalk and landscaping, and which landscaping has to be in place before we get our CO.
Are you serious?
But the other thing, Richard, let's get it done. I don't want the sheriff's personnel going out there and going, wow, they did all this, but they didn't finish it. I don't want to give them the wrong impression. They deserve to come in here to a building that's ready to go and has it done. And we don't have incidents in the parking lot where somebody gets a parked car because they're a tree and blows.
No, when I'm with Judge, when we move in, it needs to be 99.8% complete the day we move in. And I think we'll hit that, just unless, like I said, unless it starts raining tomorrow and it doesn't let up until the 21st.
Here I am sitting there thinking, well, it don't matter if it rains because we're all inside. And then you tell me we can't get our certificate of occupancy unless the landscaping's done.
Yep,
Holy guacamole, what sense does that make?
that's just the rules, that's part of it.
Once you get your certificate of occupancy and get in compliance, if you're on the other side of that fence, it doesn't look as good. So we're gonna do it right.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, barring anything like that, we are on target to open on the 21st.
Any other questions? Okay, we're not gonna take up the budget until 1:30 this afternoon. Come and participate. The biggest issue is we've gotten some, we want to be sure we're getting the tax rate set right and done based on the truth in taxation form. And I took a graduate course in statistics and counting, and my mind still got wrinkles trying to figure out the truth in taxation. Probably more aptly called the confusion in taxation. But the lady from TAC texted me back and said you can have.
Well, that's what Deb said.
Somebody's gotta show me the math on that.
Well, and I think she'll shed some light, Judge, after
But
lunch.
now I wanna know what it does to us for our tax rate. That's,
Well, you cannot have $46 million in new revenue, or new value, and your tax rate go from 67 to 68, and be no new revenue. I don't get that.
Well, it's because of all the adjustments applied that didn't apply to the 67 rate, that do apply to the new.
I'm gonna tell you, if I'm a citizen of this county, and you tell me no new revenue, and my tax rate goes up, I'm gonna say,
But, you know, we've avoided that as long as we feel.
68 cents has a 3.5% kicker in it.
well, I just looked at this rate from Michelle. It says that,
let's sit down this afternoon and we'll have everybody's worksheets out. You look at it, like Michelle takes it through.
327.
Any other comments, commissioners, or Elizabeth, you all, anyone else in the audience? Okay, Commissioner Beach or anybody else?
No, other than my pastor's funeral is tomorrow afternoon.
And you know, Mark, that since the day you told me, stayed on my mind and grieved me, and I didn't know him, but it just grieved me, and so I hated to hear that, and I saw your post, and I'm sad for the loss.
Well, just a little background, his grandfather wrote Victory in Jesus, so.
Wow.
He is,
I know that song, every word of
everybody knows that song.
it. I know that song, every word of it.
Yeah, and he's celebrating his victory in Jesus
That's right,
today.
amen, amen.
So,
Wow.
he might be grieving, but he's not, so.
Clear up something while the sheriff's here. What time is that meeting tomorrow on the telephone, on cellular telephone? Is it at 10:30 or 1:30? I saw.
It's gotta be at 10:30, because at 1:30 I won't be here.
Oh, okay, all right.
I know I've got a very full slate tomorrow morning, so.
That means we're gonna be meeting with them rest.
Yeah, I asked for that meeting to be right immediately after that. I think at 11
You see what I was saying,
o'clock.
Willie, about
I saw it on
27?
my calendar to be, get back there to it. It's been moved
It's
to
confusing.
1:30, which I obviously will not be able to attend that.
Okay, is it now definitely 1:30?
But that's what it's showing on my calendar.
Okay.
I'd asked for it to be rescheduled.
We use the conference call number, so you come here or you can call in.
1:30?
Yes, sir.
Judge, we've got a 9 to 10 o'clock, that open enrollment, concepts or thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Hartage.
I want everybody to be aware that tomorrow is opening day of dove season.
It is the first.
It is the
I
first.
thought that we talked that it was the weekend.
The first Monday?
No, it's September 1st every year.
Right, that is it.
So
Okay.
this weekend, we're gonna have our dove hunt, Friday and Saturday. Y'all just need to be safe, 'cause there's gonna be a lot of hunters out there. I got a lot of people coming in from, believe it or not, from Lake Charles and Beaumont area. I checked on them, they said, hey man, I got a tree down in the backyard, I can cut it up when I get back, I'm coming. I said, okay,
You need one of those monitors to issue order to check them in?
yeah, 'cause them Cajun people, I wanna call them that instead of, they got no sense, they crazy. Got a couple coming out of Lake Charles, bringing us a bunch of shrimp and crawfish. We're gonna have etouffee and jambalaya on Saturday. So anyway, just remember to be careful, be safe. Don't shoot back towards town, don't shoot each other. Make sure that if you go hunting, you've got migratory bird stamped on your license, because you can go buy a super combo, and if you don't ask for migratory bird, you'll get a ticket. And migratory bird doesn't cost you a dime, doesn't cost you any more money, you just gotta tell them.
So it don't come automatically.
No, you have to ask for it.
I didn't realize
And
that.
Glad you said that.
don't commingle your birds. Don't throw your birds on the tailgate with your buddies and mix them up. That's not good either.
But you can commingle your kinds of birds in your own keeping, right? I mean.
Yeah, if you put your 15, and your 500 ringnecks all together, yes, you can.
There's no limit on crackers, Jeff.
Okay.
Now, didn't the governor get in trouble that year?
Yeah, don't put a bald eagle in there with them, though.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Or a hawk, that's right.
And
That's right.
if you don't want your dove, you can give your dove to your buddy. All you do is, before you even go out there, just print off a wildlife resource document. You fill that sucker out, put your hunting license on it, and you can give your birds to your buddy.
Okay, yeah, as I say, the possession thing, you better keep track of those,
Yep.
those transfers. All right, Commissioner Waller.
We've been busy mowing in the precinct, and this, of course, will be slowed down because of the rain, but I don't hear anybody complaining about rain in late August or early September. It is incredible. What a blessing. And just to double check, Judge, while I've got it in front of me, because I had not transferred this. Now, if I understand this right, next Tuesday, the 8th, we're going to vote on a proposed tax rate. and then we're gonna vote on the tax rate on Monday the 14th. Isn't that still
Well, we're
correct?
gonna put it, okay, when you put the proposed rate out, you have to vote on it within 7 days, that's new.
Okay,
So if we put it in on Tuesday the 8th,
okay,
we will vote on it on Monday the 14th. So
okay,
it might
that's
be
what,
6
that's what
days.
we're gonna do. So we're gonna, we post it on the 8th, we vote on it on the 4th. Just double check, because I had not wrote it on my calendar, I wanna make
But
sure.
we'll have a hearing
Dates,
on the 8th, right? Or is that the 14th,
that's 14th.
the hearing?
14th, yeah, the hearing and the voting to be.
During
Okay,
court.
okay.
We only have to have one.
Yes, because we're,
And I thought we were doing something Friday, just discussions or this
yeah,
week?
Fridays, yeah. and-
Okay, just a regular deal, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I had that right, but anyway, just, got high school football season kicked off Friday night, and, so far, so good. You know, I tell you what, 2 weeks ago, I wondered if we'd ever do it.
Really?
I really did, and they apparently,
No fans in the stands?
oh yeah, there's.
Yeah, they were.
Limited, they're
What was the
limited on
final
capacity.
score of
Yeah.
Allen Park?
28-0.
28-0.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah, I was shocked, but anyway, I'm just glad to see us, guys, we need to get some things back on schedule, and that was a giant step. Getting school going and I mean, we gotta get past this, so that was good. And other than that, just, I'm anxious to get this budget set and move on. That's all. It's a monumental, event for county government, but Mark, sorry about your loss. Well, that was quick too, but.
It was quick.
And maybe that's good, you know.
Yeah.
you just-
Oh, it's definitely
You
good.
never can
Yeah,
tell, so,
he still had, last time I saw him, he still had his faculties. He still,
yeah,
that was good.
good grief, that's tough, anyway.
So, if I could go back just a second.
Yes, sir.
Over the weekend, we did have a virtual Hotter Than Hell 100. And there were
Somebody actually rode in
quite
it.
a few people that came into town and started the route. So, it was interesting to be there on the start line Saturday morning at normal time
So
and
you.
And how many people were there?
You went.
yeah, I went and I actually did my ride.
How many people were at the start line? Just guess.
The group that I was in,
No, just everybody. How many people were there?
probably 50
Okay.
all told. So, but on the route, I probably saw 100, 150.
I was gonna say,
people
there's a
on the route,
bunch
so,
come through Burke.
yeah. So there were a couple of groups that went out before my group, and a couple of groups that went out after, but we started at the right time, and we played the national anthem and did the whole thing, and everybody said boom, and we took off and rode.
I heard that.
So it lived on. Did you ride your virtual?
I did, I started at 5:30.
You started early.
Well, I briefly, they were doing the 100, well, I had a group of 4 people that, 2 of them did the Quadzilla. And they
Yeah,
have finished it.
Wow.
And so I was just a participant to help them out, like get them, so I rode like 57 miles on the road bike that morning, and then I rode 30-something on the gravel, and then yesterday I walked with my friend for her half
wow,
to get her through that, so she was the first female to finish the Quadzilla.
awesome.
Yeah.
So Quadzilla, for those that don't know, it's about 14-mile mountain bike race. It's 100 miles on road bike. It is half marathon and what is it?
62 miles on a gravel
62 miles on a
Wow.
gravel bike
Wow.
within 3 days. So I did the triple last year. There was no way I would even entertain the thought of doing the quad.
Yeah. She's an ER nurse, so that was even a little bit different since they work around her schedule, but she got it done, and, yeah, we.
That's amazing.
That's an
We finished
incredible
like the
amount.
gravel like at 12:30 in the morning. She started at 5:30 and we finished like at 12:30.
You do just gravel roads?
Yeah, we rode to, from Orange County to Oodles. So
Yeah.
the back roads there from Freeway to, and then we finished up on the actual road on 1954 at the mountain. I don't know if you know, all of Orange County, so y'all know what we call them.
We chase people on their wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were on Cisco 1954 a lot, trying to get the last 6 miles for her. We
Wow,
got it done, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
That's,
And it was not cool Saturday.
no, it was,
Was she wore out? at the end of it? Was she just,
She was, like I said, very, very mentally and physically at the end of that gravel ride, because, like I said, we started at 5 o'clock in the morning for her 100, and they got through at 11:30, I think, and then she started back at 5:30 in the afternoon on her gravel. And like I said, we got done at 1, but, you know, consuming the nutrition, just the liquid nutrition and not being able to eat, but, you know, she's 26, so therefore, you know, we give her props for that, but yeah, so she was very exhausted by the end, but then we got up at 8 o'clock yesterday morning, and it took us 4.5 hours to walk 13 miles, but we did it, you know, and, so yeah, she was physically exhausted by the end of that, and,
Quadzilla?
See, growing up, I never knew there was anything to ride a bike on but gravel. I mean, that's a good.
What? That is the growing sport right now, is gravel bike, so.
So they won't mind our chip seal roads?
Shoot, no.
not on gravel bikes, no.
Not on gravel bikes. But boy, you don't want to tell a road biker that you're putting down chip seal. You'll
Well,
sure hear about it on Facebook really fast when you do chip seal road.
well, we don't chip seal our road for a bike race, we chip seal them for our constituents.
Some of which are riding bicycles.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Watts.
Yes, Olin Borland passed away last night.
Oh, really?
Really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
just a
Dadgummit.
long battle with throat cancer, and the procedure, his last procedure didn't go well and struggled.
Wow.
And of course, he's married to Carolyn, grandmother of Hunter Cure, the world champion bulldogger, and we've all been over there and had desserts at their houses after chamber, and always involved in everything you go to Electra for. So hate that for Carolyn, and I know Olin's has struggled with it for quite some time, and it's been a
You know, Jim, if anything went on in Vector, he was there.
He was there, he
No matter
always,
what it was.
long time.
Who's gonna adjourn the chamber meetings?
I don't know now,
Sherry.
so,
He always made the motion.
yeah, he's always active, she's always done cleaning up, I think.
Man, I'm gonna miss him.
It's
He
just
was
a
always there.
sad,
He always wanted to sit and visit, and he was a good guy.
just a good guy, so. That's, we're like Barry, wrapped up quite a bit of mowing, got caught up there in front of this rain. Praise the Lord for the rain, we needed it. It's always a blessing. What is it, a rain in August and a heifer calf never turn them down? So that's a real blessing, and glad that's, we've still got some possibility, I guess, in front of us, so. That's all I've got, Judge.
All right, thanks, sir. Well, I'm glad you was at the court. I was gonna ask you, but he did that, he didn't.
Yeah, I had other things on my mind, so.
We will come back at 1:30 for budget session, primary to work on, be sure to get the figures correct and work with the tax assessor's office to do that on the juvenile taxation rate. And then Friday, we will have the typical Friday session. We will have budget on there. I don't know if we'll have anything to talk about, because I hope we've got it
I think
filed.
we've got it within.
Yeah. One of the things, Judge, that Debbie mentioned to me that is unique to our calculation that we haven't done before, we've always listed 100% of collection. This time we're having to list 100.59%. And it calculates a little higher because the way they look at the collection year over year, a little bit different because we've collected some additional tax. So it does skew that number a little bit, that she said it's an anomaly that.
Well, it's really not additional tax, it's arrears, tax that we are getting in
But they
arrears.
account for that where before we haven't had to account for it.
For us, that they have, it range 100.59, 89, 87, 57, over 40 years they reported, and he estimated 100.59 for this next year. But that's money you were owed from the past, which means you had to be short.
Yeah,
It's
I
not-
agree, I agree.
Don't make no sense.
That don't make any sense to me.
But we have
It's-
151 seniors that's working that out for us.
Yep.
I've been trying to read this truth in taxation book, and you talk about make your eyes roll back in your head. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
you need a dictionary just to define terms. I mean, it's just, they're referring to all kinds of synonyms and,
It'll take us a while to get that digested, Barry.
yeah. It's
And it's
just,
supposed to be so much easier for everybody to understand.
Oh,
They just
No,
made
Mark, it made it so more complicated. The person out there paying their taxes has no clue.
No, because they were,
Their terminology makes no sense.
no.
At least what we had to work with before made a little sense.
Willie, do you, I know you wouldn't have it in your record, but we do know what our total calculation was for the payment that we did for TIF funding last year. Do we know that number is $650,000?
it's in Michelle's workshop.
Taxation.
And was that only the M&O portion void of INS and Road and Bridge? The 650?
Hang on, I just saw it. Hang on, I'll tell you what it was.
Do we know if that was the corrected calculation, or was it the calculation? That's what I wondered
But
about.
wasn't that part of the discussion, Jeff, that we weren't really doing that right?
Well, we weren't, Barry, but I didn't know which number was used then.
All right, it's 107,954,881. Tax increment financing. Deduct the 2020 captured appraised value of property taxable by a taxing unit in a tax increment financing zone for which the 2020 taxes at 107,954,881.
107 million, but that's the value. What does it calculate to be?
Yeah, that's appraised value.
That's the value of the zone.
If we were paying that kind of money in TIF, I'd be concerned.
Yeah. Oh, I wish we
It's
were.
big anyhow. Well, it's.
Yeah, I wish we were.
Well, if you look at her columns, it's not marked.
Well, it says it's value, it's not, that's not the tax, that's the appraised value.
But it doesn't say that.
Taxes and
Yeah, it does,
taxes on
it says in the,
financing.
if you'll read, it deduct the appraised value of property taxable. It doesn't tell you at the top of the deal, but
Line 16, 614,000.
there you go.
What we didn't know though is that void of INS and R&B? Or is it comprehensive as they had originally calculated?
But haven't we determined it's supposed to be void of those two things?
It's supposed to be void, so I just don't know what 614 equals.
Yeah.
And judges put in a call to try to
It
get
is.
clarification.
It's the 2020 budget tax rate times the adjusted 2019 tax roll value.
For just the M&O, with just using the M&O
Well, that's
calculation?
all the tip is M&O, it's
Okay.
not, it doesn't include debt.
Okay, so that's what it equals then?
That's
Okay.
good. That's good.
Fine. It is 11:34, and we will recess to reconvene at 1:30.
More fun.